What if immortality is a trap, not a gift? For millennia, humanity has dreamed of it. The ultimate escape, the final victory over our oldest enemy, death. From ancient myths of elixirs and fountains of youth to modern scientific promises of radical life extension, cryopreservation, and even consciousness upload, the quest for immortality has captivated our imagination. We envision a life without limits, without decay, without the inevitable farewells that punctuate our existence. But what if this eternal life, this ultimate gift, turned out to be the ultimate trap? What if, in our relentless pursuit of endless existence, we inadvertently strip life of its very meaning, its urgency, its beauty? Today, on Echoes of Olympus, we'll delve into the profound philosophical, psychological, and social implications of immortality. We'll explore the human fascination with living forever, and then bravely ask the uncomfortable question: what if immortality is not a gift but a curse? Join us as we consider the hidden costs of eternal life, and why our very finitude might be the most precious gift of all. The human quest for immortality, myths and science. The desire to live forever is deeply ingrained in the human psyche. It's a universal longing that transcends cultures, religions, and eras. From the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest surviving works of literature, to the latest breakthroughs in biotechnology, the dream of overcoming death has been a constant companion to our species. In ancient myths and legends, immortality was often the exclusive domain of the gods, or a rare blessing bestowed upon heroes. Tales abound of the elixir of life, a magical potion believed to grant eternal youth or immortality, sought by alchemists and emperors across various cultures, from ancient China to medieval Europe. The fountain of youth, a mythical spring that restores the youth of anyone who drinks or bathes in its waters, famously sought by Ponce de Leon. Ambrosia and nectar, the food and drink of the Greek gods, which granted them their eternal life and vigor, setting them apart from mortal beings. These myths reflect a deep-seated human aspiration, a yearning to escape the limitations of our biological existence. They also often carry a cautionary tale, hinting at the dangers or the price of such a gift. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the quest for immortality has moved from the realm of myth to the cutting edge of science and technology. The field of transhumanism actively explores the possibilities of radically extending human lifespan and enhancing human capabilities, often with the ultimate goal of overcoming death itself. This includes radical life extension, research into anti-aging therapies, genetic engineering, regenerative medicine, and nanotechnology aims to halt or even reverse the aging process, allowing humans to live for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. Cryopreservation. The practice of preserving human bodies or brains at extremely low temperatures with the hope that future technology will be able to revive and repair them. Consciousness uploading. Digital immortality. The most radical vision involves scanning the human brain and uploading its contents, our memories, personality, and consciousness, into a digital format. This mind upload could then theoretically exist indefinitely in a computer simulation, a robotic body, or a virtual reality, offering a form of immortality independent of biological decay. These scientific endeavors promise to transform the very definition of what it means to be human. They offer a tantalizing glimpse into a future where death is no longer an inevitability, but a solvable problem. But as we stand on the precipice of such profound changes, it is crucial to pause and consider. What are the unforeseen consequences? What if the very thing we desire most turns out to be a burden, a prison, or a profound diminishment of what makes life meaningful? What if immortality is a trap, not a gift? The existential trap, boredom and loss of meaning. Imagine living for centuries, millennia, or even forever. At first, the prospect is exhilarating. You could master every skill, learn every language, visit every corner of the universe. But what happens after the first few hundred years? Or the first few thousand? The very concept of time, of progress, of novelty begins to warp. This is the existential trap of immortality, the profound risk of boredom, stagnation, and the ultimate loss of meaning. The weight of endless time. Our lives are shaped by deadlines, by the finite nature of our time. This finitude creates urgency, motivates us to act, to learn, to love, to experience. Without the ticking clock, would we still feel the same drive? Would innovation cease if there was no pressure to achieve within a limited lifespan? The sheer weight of endless time could lead to a profound sense of apathy and inertia. Every experience, no matter how profound, would eventually repeat, losing its luster and significance. The erosion of novelty and wonder. A significant part of human joy comes from novelty, from discovery, from the fresh experience of the new. If you have seen and done everything, if every possible permutation of human experience has been exhausted over countless centuries, what remains to spark wonder? The universe, no matter how vast, would eventually become familiar, and the thrill of discovery would fade into a dull routine. The very capacity for awe might atrophy. The problem of identity and change. Our identities are fluid, shaped by our experiences, our relationships, and our growth over time. We are constantly evolving. But if you live forever, how do you maintain a coherent sense of self? Would you become a collection of fragmented past selves, unable to truly connect with any single identity? The very concept of personal growth might become meaningless if there is no endpoint, no ultimate transformation to strive for. Would we become static, unchanging beings, or would our identities dissolve into an amorphous, eternal sameness? The loss of urgency and purpose. The awareness of our mortality often provides a powerful impetus for finding purpose and making our lives count. We strive to leave a legacy, to make a difference, to live a life of meaning before our time runs out. If time is infinite, what then is the purpose? What is the ultimate goal? The very concept of a life's work or a legacy might become irrelevant, leading to a profound existential vacuum. The pain of endless loss. While immortality might spare us our own death, it would condemn us to witness the endless cycle of death and decay around us. Friends, family, entire civilizations would rise and fall while the immortal observer remains. The accumulation of grief, the constant farewells to beloved mortals, could become an unbearable burden, leading to profound loneliness and detachment. The immortal would become a living monument to loss, a ghost in a constantly changing world. Philosophers like Bernard Williams have argued that a truly immortal life would be unbearable, leading to an unendurable boredom and a loss of all meaning. The very structure of human desire and purpose is predicated on finitude. Without it, the greatest gift might become the most profound and inescapable trap, a gilded cage of endless, meaningless existence. The social trap, overpopulation, resources, and inequality. Beyond the individual existential crisis, the prospect of widespread human immortality presents a myriad of daunting social and ethical challenges. Our planet, with its finite resources and delicate ecosystems, is already struggling to sustain a growing population. Imagine the strain if death, the ultimate population control mechanism, were removed from the equation. Immortality, far from being a universal blessing, could become a catalyst for unprecedented social stratification, conflict, and environmental catastrophe. Overpopulation and resource depletion. If humans stopped dying, the global population would skyrocket at an unimaginable rate. This would place an unbearable strain on Earth's finite resources: food, water, energy, habitable land. Famine, resource wars, and ecological collapse would become not just possibilities, but inevitabilities. Even with advanced technology, the sheer numbers would be unsustainable, leading to a desperate struggle for survival. Social stratification and immortality elites. It is highly unlikely that the technology for immortality, if it ever existed, would be immediately accessible to everyone. It would almost certainly be incredibly expensive, creating a stark divide between the immortal elite and the mortal masses. This would exacerbate existing inequalities, creating a new, unbridgeable chasm between those who can afford eternal life and those who cannot. The immortal would become a new ruling class, with little incentive to care for the transient concerns of mortals, leading to unprecedented social injustice and resentment. Stagnation and lack of progress. Death, in a strange way, is a driver of progress. New generations bring new ideas, new perspectives, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. If the same individuals held power and influence indefinitely, society could become incredibly rigid and resistant to change. Innovation might slow, and the world could become dominated by outdated ideas and entrenched interests, leading to a profound cultural and intellectual stagnation. Ethical dilemmas of reproduction and succession. If immortality became widespread, what would happen to reproduction? Would new births be severely restricted or even forbidden to manage population? How would society manage succession in leadership, in families, in institutions, if no one ever left their position? The very fabric of human society, built on cycles of birth, life, and death, would be fundamentally disrupted, leading to complex and potentially intractable ethical dilemmas. The problem of crime and punishment. How would justice systems cope with immortal criminals? Would eternal imprisonment be a viable or ethical solution? The concept of rehabilitation would take on an entirely new meaning, and the consequences of actions would stretch into infinity, creating unprecedented challenges for legal and moral frameworks. Psychological strain on society. The constant presence of the same individuals, the lack of generational turnover, and the immense pressure on resources could lead to widespread psychological distress, social unrest, and a breakdown of community bonds. The very idea of a shared future might dissolve into a grim, endless present. In this scenario, immortality transforms from a personal dream into a societal nightmare. It becomes a privilege for the few, a burden for the many, and a recipe for global instability. The gift of eternal life, when scaled to a societal level, reveals itself as a profound and potentially catastrophic trap, threatening the very foundations of human civilization. Finitude as a gift, what death teaches us. In our relentless pursuit of immortality, we often overlook a profound truth, that our very finitude, the certainty of our eventual end, is not a flaw to be overcome, but a fundamental aspect of what gives life its meaning, its urgency, and its beauty. What if death, far from being the ultimate enemy, is actually the ultimate teacher, the catalyst for our deepest experiences and our most profound growth? Consider the ways in which our mortality shapes and enriches our existence. The urgency of life. The awareness that our time is limited instills a sense of urgency. It motivates us to pursue our dreams, to express our love, to make amends, and to seize opportunities. Without this ticking clock, would we truly live or merely exist? The finite nature of our days compels us to make each moment count, to live with intention and purpose. The value of experience, novelty, and wonder are often amplified by their transience. A beautiful sunset is precious because it fades. A child's laughter is cherished because they grow. The finite nature of experiences makes them more valuable, more poignant, and more deeply felt. If every experience could be repeated endlessly, would any single one retain its unique significance? The drive for meaning and legacy. Our mortality inspires us to seek meaning beyond ourselves, to contribute to something larger than our individual lives. We strive to leave a positive impact, to create a legacy that outlives us, whether through our work, our relationships, or our contributions to society. This desire for transcendence is a uniquely human response to our finitude. The cycle of renewal and evolution. Death is not just an end, it is also a beginning. It clears the way for new life, new ideas, and new perspectives. In nature, decay feeds new growth. In society, the passing of generations allows for fresh insights, challenges to old paradigms, and continuous evolution. Without death, the world would become stagnant, overcrowded, and resistant to necessary change. The depth of connection. The knowledge that our time with loved ones is finite makes those connections all the more precious. It encourages us to be present, to express our affection, and to cherish every shared moment. The vulnerability that comes with knowing we will eventually lose those we love and be lost ourselves deepens our capacity for empathy, compassion, and profound human connection. The catalyst for growth and transformation. Many of our most significant personal transformations occur in response to loss, grief, or the confrontation with our own mortality. These experiences, though painful, often force us to reevaluate our priorities, shed old patterns, and discover inner strengths we never knew we possessed. Death, in this sense, is a powerful catalyst for growth, pushing us beyond our comfort zones and into deeper self-awareness. Philosophers from ancient Stoics to modern existentialists have argued that embracing our mortality is not a morbid preoccupation, but a liberating act. It is the acceptance of a fundamental truth that allows us to live more fully, more authentically, and with a greater appreciation for the precious, fleeting gift of life. The very thing we seek to escape might be the very thing that makes life worth living. Living a meaningful, finite life. So, what if immortality is a trap, not a gift? As we've explored, the human quest to overcome death, while deeply understandable, carries with it profound and often overlooked risks. The promise of endless life, whether biological or digital, could lead to existential boredom, a loss of meaning, and a society plagued by unprecedented inequality and stagnation. The very qualities that make life vibrant, its urgency, its novelty, its capacity for growth and profound connection, are inextricably linked to its finite nature. This is not to say that we should abandon all efforts to extend healthy human lifespan or to alleviate suffering. Scientific progress in these areas is vital and commendable. However, it is a call to critically examine our deepest desires and to question whether our pursuit of quantity of life is overshadowing our appreciation for the quality and meaning of life. Perhaps the true wisdom lies not in escaping death, but in embracing it as an integral part of the human experience. It is the awareness of our finitude that compels us to live more fully, to love more deeply, to create more passionately, and to seek meaning in every precious moment. It is the knowledge that our time is limited that makes each sunrise, each conversation, each challenge, and each triumph uniquely valuable. Instead of chasing an elusive and potentially perilous immortality, what if we focused on cultivating a meaningful, finite life? A life rich with purpose, authentic connections, continuous learning, and a profound appreciation for the beauty and fragility of our existence. A life where we contribute to something larger than ourselves, knowing that our legacy will live on, even if our individual consciousness does not. The ancient myths, with their tales of both immortal gods and mortal heroes, remind us that true heroism often lies not in avoiding death, but in facing it with courage, dignity, and a life well lived. The most profound gift is not endless time, but the precious, limited time we have and what we choose to do with it. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the Echoes of Olympus channel for more deep dives into philosophy, mythology, and the human condition, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And remember, the greatest story is the one you live in the time you have. you.